Hey, brother, Stuart Matola here, men's relationship coach. I hope you're having a great day. I'm filming to you from southern Spain, 75 miles south of Seville. I hear the morning birds chirping there. I want to talk to you in this video about something to know when you're trapped in a sexless marriage or relationship. And notice if there's a way that you feel like you're in a narrow lane, like a narrow road, maybe a highway, maybe a fast track to nowhere. When you think about the sex of your marriage, it feels like, yeah, there's a narrow lane. It's just with my partner. And if that's not happening, then nothing's happening. And it can feel like a narrow road to nowhere, as opposed to, like behind me, a vast plain, a spaciousness, a place of exploration, a place where you can feel big and feel your vastness within yourself. So if that resonates, I want you to consider the simple concept that is there a way that you've not only handed over, obviously monogamy, the sense of freedom that you have in who you have sex with, which is what monogamy is about. You're offering that to one person, but you've also handed over your own actual sexuality, which is something that exists independent of sex and intercourse with your partner. So you might be scratching your head for a moment and be thinking, well, what are you talking about here, Stuart? Well, when I talk about your sexuality, I'm talking about the part of you that you experience probably often as horniness, the turn-on part, the part that brings you energy. And so when you start to think that your partner is the only one in which you get to experience that turn-on, you are then on that narrow highway to nowhere. And the way to access your sexuality and to know that that is so much bigger than your partner is to start to do sexuality practices. And I'm going to offer you one in this video, just super simple. It helps you to waken that part of you up. And the beauty is when you start to wake up your sexuality, which you can do independent of your wife or partner, you start to bring a more alive version of yourself. And you're also doing something healthy for the relationship. Whereas to the contrary, people often think, well, oh, that's weird. Or, I'm not going to do that because then I'm disrespecting my wife because she's the one who's supposed to do that for me. Well, if she's not doing it for you, then it ain't happening. So it's time to try other things. But it also brings an individuation to the relationship, because what happens in a long-term relationship or marriage is you merge, codependence happens. You get so on top of each other, living together, sleeping together, eating together, that there's no air or oxygen for the fire to burn. Fire needs oxygen. So one of the ways to create oxygen is space. You need space. So developing a sexuality practice, not a sex practice, it's a very different thing. A sexuality practice is a way of creating more individuation so that you don't feel like she owns your sexuality, okay? And it's very important to have that space in between you and your partner, so you're bringing energy back to yourself. You're not projecting it all onto her as if she's the one who needs to take care of your needs, okay? Now, I'm not saying that that would be bypassed by doing this. That would actually be enriched and enlivened, okay? And so on the most simple way that you can experience your sexuality, and I want to be clear, brother, this takes practice, this takes guidance, this takes consistency, discipline, and accountability. Now, a lot of times guys don't want to do that. They want the quick fix. They're kind of playing in the 30-second mentality as opposed to the long range of their life. So this is the long range of your life, brother. Okay, how can you wake up your sexuality? And you can't do it just by watching a video or reading a bunch of books. Okay, it's about practice. It's about getting it into your body. And the most simple way is to literally, and you can try this right now, put out maybe your left hand or your right hand, and then literally taking a deep breath from the head, heart, gut, into the balls, down and then up, okay? And starting to feel that breath, and then caressing the inside of your arm. Really light, really tingly, that kind of like tickly thing, okay? And develop a breath practice, a touch practice, and there's so many more options, but I'm just giving you this tiny little one. It's something you can do even 45 seconds a day, just to start to wake up that part of you. Now, the beauty of you developing your sexuality is over time, and ideally you'd be spending at least 5 to 10 minutes a day doing sexuality practices, and those are things I teach my clients. And again, as I said, whereas we watch a video or read a book and then we forget about it, but with a sexuality coach, I would be holding you accountable. Like, are you living your higher purpose? Are you developing this part of you? And that helps men have the discipline to develop the practice. And so while you're breathing and caressing the inside of your arm, you're starting to feel that sense of desire awaken in you and arousal. Now, the problem is sometimes guys go there and then they're like, well, now what do I do with that? I just want to sleep with my wife. Well, the practice then is to pause and to breathe and to build that energy in your body. And the beauty of that is, as you start to become a more sexually alive being, you become more vibrant, you become more attractive to your wife or partner. And suddenly she's noticing, like, wow, you seem happy. What's going on? And I'm not talking about a guy who's masturbating a lot, because that actually depletes your energy. Okay. A guy who's like, getting it and he's happy. No, I'm talking about a guy who's connected to himself and his sexuality and understands that he owns that. She does not. So if you want to learn more about these techniques and sexuality practices, check out links to my work below. Check out my men's relationship tools call. And I hope this was helpful, brother. Thanks for watching and have a kick-ass day. Bye.